Welcome to another section where you will learn how to make decisions in Python. In the previous section, you learn how to make use of if and else statement, which we call conditional statement. As you know, programming language like Python provides various conditional structure, which allows to do more complicated tasks. In this section, you will learn how to make use of loop. There are basically two types of loop in Python, and they are for loop and while loop. A for loop is used to iterate over a sequence of objects. These objects could be a list, a set, a tuple, or a dictionary. This is how for loop looks like in Python. And you can read it as this: for item in object, what you want it to do. As you know, our object could be a list, it could be a tuple, it could be a set, it could be a string, and in fact, it can also be a dictionary. So this is how this syntax will behave. For item in object statement to do, what you want it to do is what will be in this place. Like if-else statement, as you know, they have a colon and they also have indentation. So this for loop too behaves in that manner. This item that you see here, the naming of it is actually depend on you. For example, some people may say for I in object, for fruit in a fridge, for string in list. So this item can be anything. You will see how it looks like when we get to the lab session. Other type of loop is what we call while loop. A while loop will repeat or execute a single statement or group of statements as long as the condition being checked is true. And this is the main reason why it is called a while loop. If you look at the syntax of while loop, as you can see, we start with while, then the condition that you want to check and what you want this while loop to do. If you look at the previous loop, which we know as a for loop, so a for loop must have a defined object, and the object could be any of these. So you already have an object that you want to iterate over. For example, for item in object, what you want it to do. But in the while loop, there is no object. What you have is a condition. And so while the condition is true, do this. So that is the difference between a for loop and a while loop. Let's go to the lab session where we will see the practical part of for loop and a while loop. I have already launched my Jupyter Lab notebook, and if you want to follow along with me, you can open your Python script and codes and then look for Python loop script, or you can create a new Jupyter Lab notebook. I would like to close this place so that you can see it clearly. As you know, we have two types of loop, and they are the for loop and the while loop. So what a for loop does is that it iterates over a sequence of objects. So for example, it will be checking each element in an object one by one. And this is the syntax of the for loop. So for item in object, what you want it to do. So for example, we have this as our object. And if I should ask you, what kind of object do we have in this fridge variable? You remember how to check for that, right? So for example, let's copy this. Let's copy it. Create a new cell. Put this one there. Run it. And also we can look for the type of object that this one is by using type. type of object inside this fridge. As you can see, it's a list. And that's why I say the object could be anything. So it could be a list, it could be a tuple, it could be a set, or a dictionary. So now we want to iterate over all the elements, each of the elements in this fridge, in this list. As you can see, under this list, we have many fruits, and they include mango, orange, apple, lemon, banana, grape, cherry, avocado, and watermelon. Now I have this. For fruit in fridge, print this. So what this for loop will do is that it will iterate over all this, okay? And it will then print each of the fruits inside the fridge. And now when I run this now, you see what I have. It prints each of the elements one by one. As you can see, on a new line, we have mango, another line, we have orange, apple, lemon, and so on. So which means that it has iterated over each of the elements in this fridge. For fruits in fridge, that is what I said before, that the naming of your item here depend on you. So for example, if I want to change this to item, I can just say that for item in fridge. Then since I'm looping over this list, what I want it to get printed then will be inside this print function, which is my item. So this will be an item, another item, another item. As this for loop is looping or iterating over this list, so each element will get printed, and that is what we have here, print item. So each item will then be printed. Now, as you can see, I have this. But the main reason why I use fruit here is that you will know that a fruit should be inside the fridge. Otherwise, it will get perish. So that is why I put fruit here. Although you can put anything there. So let me change it to fruit. And then I have this. There is a tip for this. Number one is that for loop must have a colon, and also it must be well indented. Otherwise, Python will throw an error. For example, let's say that I did not put an indentation here. Let's see what will happen. If I remove this, see what happens. Python throws an error, which is an indentation error. Okay, so I have to put a tab there and run it. So the good thing about Jupyter Lab Notebook is that it will help you do your indentation automatically. So for example, let me say I want to rerun it by cleaning everything, then say for fruits in fridge, okay, put a colon there, then press enter key on your keyboard. Now print what you want it to get printed. So in this case, I put fruit here and then I run it. As you can see, it has already done the indentation for me, and then I have my result here. So let's see another example. In example 2, we want to print the square of each number in a list. So we can use for loop to do that. So we have our list here, which we call my list, which has number from 1 to 4. And now to use a for loop, you can do something like this. For number in my list. Remember, this is your object and this is your item. For number in my list, print number square. So this number squared will print the square of every number in this list. So when I run it now, see what I have. I have 1, 4, 9, 16. So it has squared each number in this list. So let's say that I disorganize this and I have something like 1, 4, 2, 9. So if I run this code, see what I have. I have 1, 16, 4, 81. As you know, the square of 1 is 1. The square of 4 is 16. The square of 2 is 4. While the square of 9 is 81. So this for loop does the square of each element in this list. So let's say that I want to get the cube of each number. So what we do is just to change this number to 3. So let me copy this and create a new cell. Create a new cell for this and let's see what I have. So I have this, then I want to print the cube of each number. See what I have. And I have 1, 64, 8, and 729. So this has printed the cube of each number on this list. So let's see another example. So in this example, we want to print the square of each number from 0 to 9. But in this case, we want to use our range function. Remember, in the previous video, you learned how to make use of range function. In case you have forgotten, let me remind you. If I say range, let's say 1 to 10, see what I have. I have 1 to 10. But to create a list out of this range so that we can have number from 1 to 9, I have to use list here. So for example, see list. Oh, sorry. I have this. See now, I have 1 to 9. So what range does is that it will start from the start number, which is 1, and then it will end at 9 because it will not include the last number, which is 10. And so therefore we have 1 to 9 here. So I hope you now remember what range does. So if you are using a range in the for loop, so we don't need to include list as we did it here. So Python will do that automatically by itself. So now we have this for I in range 10. So what this one is saying is that if you just say range 10, let's see. Let me copy this and open a new cell. So just do like this and just put 10 here, see what will happen. So if I put 10 here, so Python will start from 0 because Python index starts with 0. So Python will start at 0 and then stop at 9. But you know, if you include the starting point by yourself, then Python will start with that starting point, which is 1, and end at a number before the end point, which is 9. Okay, so now if I just say range 10, so internally Python will have number from 0 and end at 9. So that is what this one is doing underneath. So before I make this code complicated, let me just do like this. Print I. Let me copy everything so that it will be on my clipboard, and then let me delete this so that you can see it clearly. So now I have this for I in range 10. So print I. So if I just run this now, see what I have. I only have number, every number gets printed. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and stop at 9, which is the same thing with what I have here. Only that for loop is printing each number in each line, but with a list, as you can see, everything is all together, and that is what makes it a list. But with the for loop, each number will get printed, and that is the main reason why we can make this for loop to be a complex one. So let me paste what I copied before. So in this example, so what I want to print is that for I in ring 10, print I, because I is my item here, the loop item. And then I have what I call print formatting. As you remember before that we have done something like this, where you can do various formatting by using print. So now I have print I, comma, then I have this string, that is a colon. So which means that every number, a colon, and then we now know the square of that number. So if I run this now, see what I have. So now this code is telling us that the square of 0 is 0, the square of 1 is 1, the square of 2 is 4, the square of 3 is 9, and so on. And the square of 9 is 81. So that is what this one is doing. There is nothing hard in this code, only that we make use of our print formatting to extend how this for loop can work. So for example, let's say that I want to multiply every number in ring 10, which is from 0 to 9. I want to multiply that number by 6. So in this case, I can just remove one star from here. As you know, this is the multiplying sign. So which means that every number will be multiplied by 6. Now, if I run this now, see what I have. So each number here will be multiplied by 6. So for example, 0 times 6 is 0. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 6 is 18, and so on. And 9 times 6 is 54. And that is what we have here. So let's see the last example. In this example, we want to print every string or every character in this country called South Sudan. As you know, we have to get the number of characters in this string. Remember, we can just say, let's copy and paste here, and then let's look for the len. The len function will help us to know the number of characters in this string. As you know, we have stored South Sudan, which is a string, in this variable. So if I run this one now, I can see that I have 11 characters in this string. Okay, so now with the help of for loop, we want to print each character in this string, which are up to 11. So therefore, each character will be printed line by line. So now let's see. Now we are using for loop. So we are saying for character in this, print character. So always remember that when you are using for loop, what will be inside your print function will be the item you want to iterate over the object country. So now we have for character in country, print character. So if I run this now, see what I have. Each character in this South Sudan is printed. For example, SOUTH space SUDAN, and altogether we have 11 characters. So let's see this last example. In this last example, we have teacher's name, and they are Derek, Belen, Baruch, Jama, and Jalila. So now we want to iterate over this teacher name, and then we want to print this is the teacher name. So which means that we'll be saying this is and then including or putting the name of the teacher in that sentence. This is Derek, this is Belen, this is Baruch, this is Jamal, this is Jalila. So let's see how we can do that. So in this scenario, we also want to use print formatting where we make use of f string. As you can see, we have f string here, and we also have a placeholder. So since this teacher is iterating over the teacher name, so each teacher name will be in this placeholder, and the statement that we want to print out will now be this is teacher. So let's run it. Now, as you can see, we have this is Derek, this is Belen, this is Baruch, this is Jama, this is Jalila. Welcome back. In example 5 here, you will see how to loop over a dictionary. As you know, dictionary is also another object in Python. In previous video, you learned how to use a dictionary in Python as a data structure. And you know that a dictionary must have a key and a value. For example, we have this dictionary called life expectancy. As you can see, here is key 1 and here is value 1. So here we have Nigeria as the key, we have its value as 60. We also have another key called Kenya, and we have 69 as its value. Since a dictionary is a key to value pair, so we can actually iterate over a key, and we can also iterate over a value in that dictionary. In this example, you will see how to iterate over a key in a dictionary. So here we have this for loop. For example, we want to iterate over the key in this life expectancy dictionary. So before we run this code, first of all, let's run this cell. Now we have this as our dictionary. So let's check for the type of this class. As you know, is a dictionary already. Great. So now let's see various keys and various values inside this dictionary. So to get various keys in a dictionary, you can just use its method, which is dot keys. So here now we just say life expectancy dot keys and then put a parenthesis there. Now if I run this now, I have as you know, I'm supposed to put keys and not key. So let me rerun it and correct my error. Now, as you can see, here are the keys inside this dictionary. And the keys are Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia, Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Somalia. So now, we can now iterate over these keys so that we can have something like this. And that is exactly what this code is all about. So this code is this. For country, which are all these, for country in life expectancy dot keys. As you know, this code will print all this for us. And this is what for loop will iterate over. So we have for country in life expectancy dot keys, print country, and that is the main reason why we have all this as its result. And if you look at what we have here and what is in this place, you see that they are the same thing, only that the output of this one has each country on every new line. We can also iterate over a value inside a dictionary. So before I run this code, let me show you what the values in a dictionary looks like. So for example, I can just use life expectancy dot values. So I have this as all the values inside this dictionary. As you can see, they are 60, 69, 68, 68, 67, 65, 64, 54. And to iterate over all the values in the dictionary, we can then use this for year in life expectancy. Remember, this depends on you. It can be anything. And whatever you have here is what we have inside this print. So for year in life expectancy dot values, print year, and that is the main reason why we have this. So let's see how we can also use for loop in another dimension. So in this, we have something like this, so that when for loop is printing each key, then a value must also get printed. For example, we have this for country in life expectancy dot keys. You know this, what this one will do, right? Print country. So this will print each country. Then we're also saying print life expectancy, and then we put this country there. So what this one is doing here is that it will print the value. It will print the value. So you know that to get a value from a key, we can just use something like this. Let me show you how that one works. So you know, to get a value from, let's say I have life expectancy dictionary. Okay, then I want to see the life expectancy for Nigeria. For example, I can just put something like this there. Nigeria, see what I have. I have 60. So since this is a key, so when I put key inside this square bracket and a quotation, the value of that key will get printed, and that is the wisdom behind this. So I'm just saying life expectancy. Okay, the key that we have in the country is what I put here, and this will print the value of that key for me. And also I have another print at the bottom here, which is to give us a new line when the key and the value is printed for each key and value. For example, let me run it before I explain it clearly. As you can see, we have for every key and value, we have a line, a new line before another key and value. So if I remove this line, see what I will have. As you can see, everything, it's not well printed. Although you may like this, but I will prefer I have it in a nicer way. And that is what I have here. So that I can see here is the observation for Nigeria. Here's another observation for Kenya. Here's another observation for Uganda, and so on and so forth. And that is all about for loop in Python. In summary, a for loop is used to iterate over any object in Python. And that object can be a list, it can be a tuple, it can be a set, it can be a dictionary, and in fact, it can be a string. Welcome back. In this section, you will learn how to make use of break and continue statement in Python. In the previous video, you learned how to make use of for loop. And in this video, you will now learn how you can control your for loop with the help of continue and break statements. We can use break or continue statement to alter the flow of our normal loop in Python. As you know, loop iterate over a block of code until the text expression is false. Sometimes you may want to terminate or stop your iteration. So in this case, you will see how to make use of continue and break statements. The continue statement is used when you want to stop the current iteration of the loop and then continue with the next item. For example, look at this list. We have mango, orange, apple, lemon, banana, and so on to watermelon. So now let's say that we don't want to print this orange while we are printing every fruit inside this list. So with the help of continue, then we can achieve that. So what continue will do is that when the iteration gets to orange, it will skip it and then continue to the other iteration. For example, we have this. Here's our object, which is a list, and it contains many fruits. And in this for loop, we have this. For fruits in this fruit list, if fruit is equal to orange, as you can see, here is a comparison operator, which is our double equality. So we are saying that if the iteration gets to orange, which is this, then it will continue it. Continue means it will skip this orange and then continue other iteration. And that is what this is doing. So if I run it now, you will see that among the list of fruits that got printed, orange is not there. Look at it. Mango, after mango is supposed to have orange, since the fruit here is equal to the orange. Then the for loop will skip this orange and continue to other fruits, which is apple, lemon, and so on. And that is what we have here. So let's see another example where we can make use of continue statement inside the for loop. In this example 2, we want to skip a score that is equal to 50. So to do that, we have our object, which is the score list. And here is a list, as you can see. And now we want to iterate over all this score. But we want to skip a score that is 50. And then we want to print other scores. So now look at it now. If this score is equal to 50, then it will skip this and then continue with other score. So look at how we do it here. We have this print formatting, which helps us to print your score is what the score is. As you can see, your score is 20, your score is 30, your score is 40. And now when the score reaches 50, it will skip that and then continue to the other score, which is 60. And that is exactly what this is doing. Let me run it. As you can see now, 50 is not printed because the score, if has controlled this, if score is equal to 50, then skip it and then continue to the other score. So let's see another example. In this example, we have a scenario of a farmer in Tigray region in Ethiopia. So this farmer has different egg weights, and this farmer has put all the egg weights inside this list. And now we want to see that an egg is good if it weighs above 60 grams. So which means that if the egg does not weigh up to 60 grams, then that egg is bad. And what we want to do in this example is that we only want to print every egg that is good, which means that they must weigh above 60. In our for loop here, as you can see, we say for egg in egg weight, if egg is less than or equal to 60, then skip it and then continue to print other good eggs. As you can see, we know that if the egg is above 60 grams, then such an egg is good, otherwise it is bad. So now we have skipped all the bad eggs and only print a good egg inside this egg weight. Now if I run this now, see what I have. I only have 61, 68 and 69, and these are the good eggs inside this egg weight. You can see that 59 here is not above 60, and that is why continue has skipped this all these bad eggs here. That skipped it because they are less than or equal to 60. I hope you are getting to understand this scenario of continuous statement in Python. To make you remember different scenarios that we have undertaken before, whenever you are using continue, what continue will do is that it will skip that condition and then continue to print other elements inside that list. As you can see, without using this condition, every egg here will get printed. But with the help of this condition, if egg is less than or equal to 60, continue. So which means that this one will skip all the conditions that are true here and then print only the condition that does not follow this rule. As you can see, wherever you see if, we are setting a rule inside that if condition. Let's see another example. In this example, we have a string called code, and we want to print every character inside this string. But any string that equal to E should be skipped and not get printed. So if I run this now, see what I have. The current letter is C, the current letter is O, the current letter is D. Since this E is equal to this condition, and therefore our for loop just skipped it and end that for loop. I hope you are enjoying this continuous statement. Opposite of continuous statement is a break statement. And what break statement does is that it will stop the loop before it loop over all the entire values or entire items inside that object. So which means that if our condition equal to that condition that we specify, then the loop statement will just get stopped. It will stop entirely. It will stop the program and not continue with other iteration. If you compare this break statement with continuous statement, you will know that continuous statement only skip the condition that it satisfied and then continue to other iteration. But in the case of break, what will happen is that the whole iteration will just got broken. The whole iteration will got broken. It will not continue, it just got broken. So let's see it in example. We have this list called fridge. And inside this list, we have different elements such as mango, orange, apple, lemon, and so on and so forth. So now look at it now. We say for fruit in fridge, for every fruit inside this fridge, print the fruit, and if fruit is equal to grape, then break the loop. As you can see, once our loop get to grape, okay, the whole loop will stop whenever it reaches this condition, which is grape, and that is what this is doing. So let me run it now, see what happens. As you can see, mango got printed, orange got printed, apple got printed, lemon got printed, banana got printed, and when this fruit reaches grape, as you can see, it stopped. So which means that cherry wasn't printed, avocado wasn't printed, and watermelon wasn't printed. So whenever the condition is satisfied, then the whole loop will just break. As you can see, it will just break. Let's see another example. In this example, our loop will break whenever it reaches banana. So now inside this fridge, we have mango, orange, apple, banana, and cherry. So now we now have this condition. For fruit in fridge, print fruit. If fruit is equal to banana, then break. As you can see, what will happen is that once our iteration reaches banana, it will just break, and this cherry will not get printed. So let's run it. Now, as you can see, we have mango, orange, apple, and banana. Since this condition has been satisfied, then the whole loop just got broken. It stopped the loop entirely. Now, let me summarize the difference between continue and break statement for your better understanding. In the continue statement, our iteration will skip the item that satisfies the condition and print the other item. While in the break statement, our entire program will just break whenever it reaches that condition. And that's all about break statement and continue statement in for loop. Welcome back. In the last video, you learned about a for loop, and you know that a for loop must have an object to iterate on, and such object could be a list, a tuple, a set, or a dictionary. And you also learned about continue and break statement. We use continue statement to skip a particular element in the object, while a break statement is used to break a loop when a particular element is reached. In this video, you will learn about a while loop. What is a while loop? A while loop will repeatedly execute a single statement as long as the condition is true. And this is the main reason why it is called a while loop. This is the syntax of a while loop. As you can see, while text expression. So which means that this loop called while loop must have a condition, okay, that is going to iterate over whenever the condition is true. Here is an example. Here we have to print a number as long as the number is less than 10. For example, we have a variable called number, which is equal to 1. And now see the condition. While number is less than 10, as you know, number that is less than 10 can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on up to 9. So now we are now saying that while number is less than 10, print number. The difference between a while loop and a for loop is that a for loop must have an object to iterate on, while a while loop will only have a variable. And then while a particular condition is met, what you want that while loop to do is what will be in the body of while loop. For example here, as you can see, we have an increment called number plus 1. So which means that while number is less than 10, for example, while 1 is less than 10, print 1. Number is equal to number plus 1. This one is what will be added for every iteration. After 1 has gone, then 1 plus 1 will be 2. After 2 has gone, 2 plus 1 will be 3. After 3 has gone, 3 plus 1 will be 4. As you can see, here is an incremental value. So this number, which is equal to 1, will be added for every iteration, and that what will be added is 1. So for example, you can see we have while number less than 10. Print number, number is equal to number plus 1. As you can see, we have 1 to 9, which is the result of this while loop. You may be asking, why do we have this increment? Number is equal to number plus 1. If we omit this increment, there will be what we call infinite loop. That is, our condition will be true forever, and that can damage our computer. In fact, except we either restart our computer or we stop that loop, the loop will continue forever. And that is the main reason why we need to put an increment in the while loop. Please remember that when you are doing a while loop, you must have a colon and also an indentation. And also, there must be an increment. Otherwise, you will have what is called infinite loop. If you look at this tip, one unique feature about a while loop is that it requires a relevant variable to be ready. For example, we have this as our variable, which is number is equal to 1. If there is no number here, as you can see, there is nothing that this one will be less than 10. That is the main reason why we must first of all assign a value to a variable that we want to loop over. Let's see another example. In this example, we have a variable called 1. And here, we are saying that while number is less than 10, print number, number plus equal 1. So this example 2 and example 1 is identical, which means that you can either put the increment in this form or you put the increment in this form. I will prefer you use this. You use this first one. And when you become a good Pythonista, then you can do the second one in this form. So let me just run it. So what this one is just saying is that while the number is less than 10, print number, number plus equal to 1. So which means that this one, number here, which is 1, will be added by another one here for every iteration. After that one has gone, then 1 plus 1 is 2. So after 2 has gone, so it will add 1 to the initial result, which is 2, which is 3. And now after 3 has gone, it will add 1 to it, which is 4. After 4 has gone, it will add 1 to it, which is 5, and so on and so forth, until this condition is no longer met again. Let's see another example. In this example, we want to print a number that is less than 20. And also, we want to customize it. For example, 8 is less than 20, 9 is less than 20, and so on and so forth. So now you see, we have a variable. Don't forget, when you are dealing with a while loop, you must assign a variable that you want to loop over using while loop. Now we have a equal to 10, and now we are saying that while a is less than 10. Remember, for a while loop there must be a condition, and that is why we are using different comparison operators. So now we say while a is less than 20, print. Now we are using our print formatting with the help of f string, so that we can have a good statement to be printed. For example, we are saying while a is less than 10, print f, then we have a quotation, and we also have a placeholder. This placeholder is what will be our a, and for every increment of it. So now we are saying while a is less than 20, print this statement, which is a is less than 20. Remember, the first a is 20 is 8. Remember, the first a is 8. So this will be 8 is less than 20. After this one has executed, we have added 1 to our initial a, which is 8. Now we now have 8 plus 1, which is 9. And since 9 is less than 20, this statement will get printed, which is 9 is less than 20. Again, we now have another one called 10. 10 is less than 20, and so on, until this condition is true. As you can see, since 19 is less than 20, this 19 is less than 20 got printed. You know that 20 is not less than 20. That is why this while loop had to stop in 19. I hope you are getting it. So the main problem with while loop is that while loop did not have any data structure, be it a list, be it a tuple, be it a set or a dictionary. What a while loop has is just our variable, and that is what we want to set our condition to. For example, a is equal to 8, while a is less than 20. Print this, and then remember to always include your increment. If you omit this increment, as I said before, we have what is called an infinite loop, a loop that will just continue forever. And whenever you have that, what you will need to do is just to close your program. Just close it and reopen your Jupyter Lab notebook again. So let's see the fourth example. In this fourth example, we want to print a number that is less than 20, but in another way. So here now, we start our variable by assigning x to equal 0. So now we are saying that while x is less than 5, so you print this, that is, x is currently, then another print x, print. So now we now have a different printing formatting. For example, here is a new line. Remember, to get a new line, you use /n, and then so this is what you get printed. So this program will tell you what value of x is currently. As you can see, x is currently 0. Now, since there is an increment for every x, so now when 1 is added to x, we just say adding 1 to x, x is currently 1, and so on and so forth until the condition is no longer true. So now let me run it, and you see what I have. So as I said before, please be very careful with the while loop. So it is possible you fall into the pit of a while loop where your condition will be true forever. And when your condition is true forever, you will have what is called infinite loop. And in that case, what you just do is just to close your Jupyter Lab notebook and then restart your Jupyter Lab notebook again. Welcome back. In this section, you will learn the continue statement of the while loop. As you know, we've discussed about continue statement and break statement of the for loop. And also, while loop also has its own continue and break statement. Continue and break statement in the for loop almost similar to the continue and break statement of the while loop. Let's see an example. In this example, we have this while loop which saying that I is equal to 0. That's our variable. And now we say while I is less than 10. Remember that while loop must have an incremental value, and this is what this is all about. You know that you can either put it in this form, and if this form is confusing, you can just say I is equal to I plus 1. I think this is better for you. Alright, so here is the incremental part of it. And now we are saying that if I is equal to 4, continue. Remember that the continue statement always keep a particular value that satisfy that condition, and then the next iteration then continues. So that is exactly what will happen here. You know that for every number that is less than 10, okay, so we are printing them, and now we are telling the while loop to skip the value of 4. So for every number that we get printed, just keep value of 4, and that's all. So that is what this example is all about. So now we are now expecting all these numbers to get printed, which will be 1, 2, 3. You will know that 4 is not there because we have skipped it. Since I is equal to 4, okay, as continue. So which means that this value of 4 will get skipped, and the next number will continue until this condition is no longer true. Okay, so now we have this 1, 2, 3, skip 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. As you can see, yi is less than 10. So that's all about that. Let's see another example. So in this example, we are saying that continue to the next iteration if number is 7. So you know, it's just the same thing, okay? When the number equals 7, then that number will be skipped, and then another number will continue until this condition is no longer true. So now we have this variable number is equal to 0, while number is less than 10. Okay, so you know, it's either you do this or just do this. I think this is better. Number plus 1. So if number is equal to 7, skip it and keep on continue until this condition is no longer true. So now we are saying while number is less than 10, number is equal to number plus 1. Remember, this is an increment. This is the condition to skip 7, and we continue. So let me run it. Now you see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is not there because this condition is true, and therefore the continue statement has skipped this condition 7. Then it now continue to the next iteration, which is 8, 9, and 10. So you may be asking, why do we have 10 why is 10 got printed? So the reason is that 10 is not less than 10. Okay, so since 10 is not less than 10, then 10 will be printed as well. Remember why this condition is true. So all this will be done. And that is all about continue statement. So now let's see the last part of this video, where we'll be talking about a break statement. You know that a break statement will break the loop whenever the condition is true. So here we have this, I is equal to 1, while I is less than 15. Print I. If I is equal to 10, break, and here is the incremental value of the while loop. So I think I prefer this, but for you to get it clearly, let me just do like this: I plus 1. Remember, I plus 1. So now, for y, I is less than 15. So all the value of y will get printed. But we have another condition which will help us to break the loop. And the condition is if I is equal to 10. So which means that once the loop has reached the value of 10, then that loop will stop entirely. The program will stop entirely. And that is exactly what this guy is doing, as you can see. So if I run it now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Since this condition is true, then our program stopped working. It stopped being executed. So let me create one example where I will write the code from afresh. So I just say, let's say number is equal to let's say 7. Okay. So while number is less than 11. Okay, remember the indentation, remember the colon, also remember the indentation, although Jupyter Lab Notebook will do that for you. While number is less than 10, is less than 11, then you just say print number. Okay, because if you don't include print in your while loop, then nothing will get printed. So now we are saying print number. Okay, after you have done that, then we need to include the if statement to break our program. So here now I need to start the number from, if I press enter, as you can see, it will continue from here, but that is not exactly what I want. So that if will be in the position of print, and then I can now insert my condition. So this condition now, because I don't like any number called 9. Okay, so I just say if number, okay, is equal to 9. Alright. Remember, if must also have a colon and its own indentation. So now I have a colon here, and this is the indentation. So if number is equal to 9, just break the program. Break. Then after I've inserted break statement, then I need to go back to the initial indentation for the if. Then in that place, I need to put my incremental value there. So in that case, I just say number is equal to number plus 1. Number plus 1. So this is my incremental value. Now let me run it. See what happens. Invalid syntax, line 5. Okay. So what is the problem here? Let's see. While number, okay, as you can see, I did not close the parentheses here. So now if I run it now, as you can see, so the number starts from 7. Since 7 is less than 11, 7 got printed, and here is our incremental value, which increases the value of the initial number, which is 7. And now 7 plus 1 is 8. So it will check 8 again. Is 8 less than 11? If that is so, print that number. Okay? As you know, 8 is not equal to 9. So this condition is not satisfied. Okay, that is why we need to add 1 to the initial number, which is 8. So now 8 plus 1, 9. This while loop will check for 9. While 9 is less than 11, that condition is satisfied. Okay, but now see, if number is equal to 9, and since our number here is 9, and since 9 is equal to 9, in that case our while loop will stop here, since this condition is satisfied and nothing will get printed again. And that is why the while loop has to stop here. It only printed 3 values, which are 7, 8, and 9. Let's see another example. Remember that the break statement exits the program whenever the condition is true, while the continue statement only skip that condition and continue with the other iteration. But the break statement will only stop that program from working whenever that condition is true. So let's see the last example. In this example, we are using the break statement to exit the program whenever x is equal to 3. Our initial variable is x equal to 0. So now we are saying that while x is less than 10, print x. If x is equal to 3, break it. You have to break that loop from working. So now let's run it. As you can see, it starts from 0. With the help of the increment value, we have 1. It checks for the value of 1. Since the condition is true, it prints it. It checks for the value of 2. Since the condition is true here, it prints it. It checks the value of 3. Since 3 is less than 10, alright, now another condition is that if 3 is equal to 3, then the program should stop working. And that is the main reason why after x is equal to 3, the program stops working. So it doesn't print for 4, it doesn't print for 5, it doesn't print for 6, 7, 8, and even 9. So let's see this example again. The while loop is actually is interesting. So let's see for this example. In this example, we want to exit the program whenever x is less than 12. So it's just the same reason that we have done before in the other examples. So x is equal to 0 is our initial variable. So while x is less than 20, print x. Remember, this one will print for all the value of for all the value that are less than 20. But this condition is also there that if x is greater than 12, just break the loop, break the program. Now, as you can see, so we have all this. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 13. Reason is that 13 is greater than 12. So all the values that are greater than 12, okay, apart from 13, are no longer printed. So let me run it so that you can see what is happening in this while loop. Remember, while x is less than 20, x is 0 here, 0 is less than 20, it will print this. It also check for this. Since this condition is not true, then it will print the initial 0 and increase the value by 1 and check for the value of 1 again. Okay, the condition is true, this condition is not true, then it will add 1 to the initial 1, which in this case is 2, and continue until this condition is true. And after this condition is true, the program will stop working. By now, I believe you now understand the concept of while loop, and especially in the area of continue statement and break statement. So let's see the summary of this for loop and while loop, continue statement and break statement. So the first thing that you must know is that a break statement is used to exit a for loop and also for a while loop. Whereas a continue statement is used to skip the current block and return to the for or while loop statement. So here is the graphical representation of both for loop and while loop. For example, here we are saying that for var in sequence, if condition if this condition is true, then continue. So this one we only skip the block of the iteration that makes this condition to be true. And for the break statement here, so what break statement will do is that after this condition is true, then the whole program will stop working. In the while loop statement, the first thing to do in the while loop is that you have to assign a variable, not any list or tuple or set or dictionary. It's only a variable. And then you now check that variable for any condition. For example, you can just say that while the variable is true, okay, do this. Now we are saying that if the condition, a particular condition that you set with the help of continue statement. So this one, what this one will do is that it will skip that value and continue with other iterations. But for the break statement, once the condition is true, the program will stop working. Thank you so much for watching this video and see you in the other section. See you again. Bye.